Mm-hmm. Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is our Prophets of Awakening. This is our evening Sabbath class, 4th of March, 2023. We'll be breaking down Jubilees chapter 46 and 47. Get a explanation from it. I'm asking everybody to go to our YouTube channel, Prophets of Awakening. Check out our videos. There's a lot of information given through the videos. And these videos will connect dots for you, lead you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures, the Tanakh, so-called Old Testament. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving through these videos, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And for those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, and the Torah being the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by the Lord of hosts. Shalom and welcome to Prophets of Awakening. Okay, and welcome to our evening Shabbat class. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, evening Sabbath prayer, Psalms. We do a little current events, some need to know information. We'll open it up for Q&A. Then we'll go into our topic. Okay. This moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts and all that He's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance from the land of our captives, the land of our enemies. Oh Lord, we come before Thee at this hour on your day that you have given us for rest at the end of your Shabbat, praising you and honoring you because of your position, both in heaven and upon the earth, a position in which the Creator Yahweh have given unto Thee. And through your spirit and counsel, O Lord, we have awakened. And we have awakened to know who we are as a people and who you are as our Savior and our Redeemer. We are thankful for all that you have done, and we are eagerly searching out your scriptures that we may be in the right place at the right time upon your arrival to this planet. We love you, Lord. We seek you daily, O Lord. There is none else besides thee to redeem us. And we see you in the affairs of the world, and we faithfully await your deliverance. Peace be unto you. Okay. I'm going to read the Psalm. Okay. I'm going to read Psalm 63. It's God satisfies the thirsty soul. It's a Psalm of David when he was in the wilderness of Judah. Okay. Oh God, thou art my God. Early will I seek thee. My soul thirsted for thee. My flesh longeth for thee in the dry and thirsty land where no water is, to see thy power and thy glory, so as I have seen thee in the sanctuary, because thy loving kindness is better than life. My lips shall praise thee. Thus will I bless thee while I live. I will lift up my hands in thy name. My soul shall be satisfied as with marrow and fatness, and my mouth shall praise thee with joyful lips. When I remember thee upon my bed and meditate on thee in the night watches, because thou hast been my help. Therefore in the shadow of thy wings will I rejoice. My soul followeth hard after thee. Thy right hand upholdeth me. But those that seek my soul to destroy it shall go into the lower parts of the earth. They shall all fall by the sword, and they shall be a portion for the foxes. But the king shall rejoice in God. Everyone that swears by him shall glory. But the mouth of them that speak lies shall be stopped. Okay. That was Psalms 63, God satisfies a thirsty soul. Anybody got any comments on that? Okay. Okay, so we see right here that he says in verse 4, thus will I bless thee while I live, and I will lift up my hands into thy name, and my soul shall be satisfied with marrow and fatness, and my mouth shall praise thee with my joyful lips. When I remember thee upon my bed and meditate on thee in the night watches. So, like I was saying before, when that hit home with me, I mean, I don't know if anybody else uh, do that or can relate to that, but that's what a thirsty soul is, and that's what he's talking about in Isaiah 44. Let's look at it. Isaiah 44, yeah. It says in Isaiah 44, okay, verses I think it's 1 through 5, but yeah, I'll read it. Isaiah 44 says, this is a prophecy that we're in the midst of right now. It says, yet hear me, O Jacob. Yet hear now, O Jacob, my servant, and Israel whom I have chosen. Thus said the Lord that made thee and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, and thou Jezreel whom I have chosen. For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty. There it is. So people that's thirsty. David just gave us a definition of what being thirsty is. For I will pour water upon him that is thirsty, floods upon dry ground, and I will pour my spirit upon thy seed, and my blessings upon thine offspring. And they shall spring up as among the grass, as willows by a watercourse. One shall say, I am the Lord's, and another shall call himself by the name of Jacob, and another shall subscribe with his hand unto the Lord, and surname him by the name of Israel. Okay. With that being said, we're going to move on to our current events. Okay. Let's look at this. I don't know if anybody heard anything about this, but I thought it was kind of disturbing.
I'm so fucking scared. It has just come to my attention because I didn't know about it just until today. In Mississippi, there was just a law passed like 5 days ago that the Jim Crow laws are being reinstated. That shouldn't be happening at all. And I know you may be wondering, this is like not my normal content on here, but I'm sorry. And I just have to make this known because what the fuck? What the actual fuck? Why? Why? I really don't understand why people do not like me, do not like us because of my color of skin. I don't understand. I really don't fucking understand. What the fuck did I do? I'm so fucking sorry that I'm not gonna cry on here because no, but this has to stop. I'm so serious. This has to stop. It has to.
I want to start this video off with a quote from the great Assata Shakur. Nobody in the world, nobody in history has ever gained their freedom by appealing to the moral sense of their oppressor. What is happening down in Mississippi, essentially the reinstating of Jim Crow laws, is proof that this place will always be what it has always been. And they will always be what their forefathers have always been. The belief and hope that any other truth exists has kept us in a loop of begging people to see our humanity and expecting that someday they will act accordingly. They never will. The sooner we digest that, we can then begin to refocus our effort, our energy, and our vision into doing things that will actually bring about our liberation. Because we can never assimilate enough, practice their religions enough, be good enough, dress appropriately enough, speak properly enough. In their eyes, we will never be enough to be human. 3/4 at best.
For Africans and other non-American Black people who do not know what Jim Crow is or was, please look it up. See, my people, these folks, they did not like you yesterday, they don't like you today, and they will not like you tomorrow. They keep telling us how they are not their ancestors. It's 2023. They are going back in time. They are their ancestors. The sooner Black people, as a collective, can finally realize that those folks are who they've always been, and like Sis said, digest that information, the better for us all. If only my people will take a look at the world and move accordingly, they would never accept us. They would never see us any different from how they historically seen us. We would never be humans in their eyes. But why do my people keep seeing these folks differently from how they've historically proven themselves to be? They still have sundown towns. There is neo-colonialism and neo-slavery and now Jim Crow laws. What more do we need to realize that they are their ancestors? And this is why you see them dropping comments like this and not returning any artifacts, because they are very much proud of their history. When people tell you who they are, when they show you the things that they're proud of and what they believe in, don't argue with them. Believe them. Accept that as the truth. And it is also why you see them on TikTok talking about how their families still have souvenirs from lynchings and how they still have furnitures that were stuffed with hairs from enslaved Africans and how they pass these things on from generation to generation. And this is also why you see them doing crazy stuff like this, trying to auction off skulls of Africans that they unalived during colonization and slavery on the continent. My people, take a look at this. Belgian auction house cancels auction of African skulls after public outcry. An auction house in Belgium was forced, guys, forced, to cancel the sale of 3 skulls of Africans killed during the colonial period in what is now the modern Democratic Republic of Congo. The skulls, which belonged to people killed between January 1893 and May 1894, were put up for sale by Vander, whatever this is called, auction house. I come on this app and I see some of you talking about that forgive and forget bullshit. These are the people who are supposed to forgive and forget, Abby. First of all, you are talking about forgiving a group of people that never asked for forgiveness. To them, they did nothing wrong. That's why they are still doing this. It's 2022. These folks are their ancestors reincarnate. We are dealing with the exact group of people our ancestors dealt with. To them, these are trophies. They look at them with pride and joy in their hearts, reliving the glory of their colonial past. These people lived in a time where they did not have joy. They were forced to endure so much that we cannot even begin to imagine. They did not find peace in this world, thanks to those folks, right? Because without us, you don't have too much. Huh. Interesting, isn't it? I gotta get the fuck out of this country. I don't live in Mississippi. I live in Texas. Texas has been looking for a fucking reason to pop out. I don't want to get lynched and get out of this country. Millennials and the generation before us, Gen X, and the generations after us, we need to leave. Because I've been said if any type of any shit come back like slavery, or they're gonna pew pew me. Because I don't know how to keep my fucking mouth shut. I don't fucking care. I need to leave. I got shit to do. This is not what it is. This country, every Black person, I know how to get the fuck out of this country because they can't treat us right yet. We do. We did everything. If we all leave, they'll realize, oh shit, then is what we needed. Let's treat them right, but don't come back. Because once I leave, I'm not coming back. I'll keep my citizenship, but I ain't coming back.
Okay. Any comments on that?
Again, we talked about it. All of us in this group have had one thing or another to reflect on what she's saying and how these people are putting it in our face and letting us know that this earth that they're ruling, that it's going to come to that prophecy with what they think is going to happen. But we all know what is truly going to happen. But it is happening. I think I did hear that, Brother Leonard. So this passed just recently. And it's broadcast just recently. I think it was like last week, Wednesday or something.
Right.
Yeah, that's my take.
Okay, anybody else?
Yes. My take on it is that each state has that to either implement it into law again. So we're going to see which states, like she said right now, that state has done it. But there's a bunch of states that it's already been in it. And when you vote for a congressman or whoever when you voting, that also stays in there. So it's haven't been removed out at all. Just that now they can, have it in their state more visual. But it's been in there. Each time you vote, you are also accepting that. That's what John Lewis was trying to get out before he passed. He was trying to get that clause out of the voting thing, out of the Congress, out of the Constitution, out of wherever it's at. He was trying to get it out. But they still, um, you know, stayed lagged on it. They wouldn't do anything to it. So when he passed, then I think they want to go ahead and hurry up and get in it and get it on so they can scare the people to go overseas, which I don't think anyone should be going over there because that's not the land that they're trying to get you to. Ghana and those places there, I don't think that's the land that we should be trying to get to. That's my take on it.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, they it's an insult to even put that up for legislation. That's the sign right there. That's the nerve of them to even do that. That's crazy. Yeah. Okay, got another one right here. I thought it was pretty interesting.
Black History Month in February. Was it just a random choice, or is there a bigger purpose to its timing? Why is it during the shortest month of the year? Here's the truth. It all started with Dr. Carter G. Woodson, born in 1875 to illiterate parents. Dr. Woodson had to work his way out of the Kentucky coal mines and into Harvard University. Woodson is the only person whose parents were former slaves in the U.S. to obtain a PhD in history. He went on to become one of the biggest figures in Black history as a journalist, author, and historian. Woodson dedicated his entire life to raising awareness of African American history. He started Black History Week because Black youth didn't learn about their true history in elementary and secondary school. The goal was to help the youth recognize that Blacks played a key role in the development of the nation. The first celebration occurred on February 7th, 1926. The second week of February was chosen because of reform and tradition. It is commonly believed that Woodson picked February since it coincided with the birthdays of President Abraham Lincoln, George Washington, and Frederick Douglass. President Lincoln was born on February 12, 1809. G. Washington was born on February 22nd, 1732, and Frederick Douglass was born on February 1818. But there's more to it than meets the eye. Let's go into a bit more detail. Woodson chose February for reasons of tradition. After President Lincoln was assassinated in 1865, other Republicans, as well as the Black community, started celebrating the fallen president's birthday. And since the 1890s, the Black community all around the country celebrated Douglass's birthday. These pre-existing celebrations became a stepping stone for a much bigger purpose. Woodson established Black History Week, formerly known as Negro History Week, to commemorate the past of the Black community. He was urging the people not to create a new tradition, but to expand their studies of Black history. The goal was to reform the tradition from a study of two great men to a study of the Black culture and history. Even though Woodson respected and looked up to Lincoln and Douglass, he was never too keen on the celebrations held in their favor. In fact, Woodson felt that history wasn't made by just great men, it was made by the people. Although Lincoln worked tirelessly to expand rights for African Americans, he did not free the slaves. It was the Union Army, troops formed of almost 180,000 free Black men and escaped slaves who did it. So, instead of concentrating on two men, Woodson believed people should focus on the innumerable Black
women and men who contributed to the cause. In 1976, Black History Week became Black History Month. So, how did people celebrate Black History Week? From the beginning, people started responding to Woodson's efforts. Black History Week emerged all around the country before the general population and in schools. While Black people were educating the youth about their history for decades, crucial new textbooks came out in the coming years, such as The Negro in Our History, 1922, by Woodson, and From Slavery to Freedom, 1947, by John Hope Franklin. Woodson's Negro History Bulletin was also available in public education centers and churches. During the 1920s, the name New Negro was given to the post-World War I generation. It signified racial pride and recognition. Because of industrial development and urban growth, more than 1 million African Americans moved from rural areas into big cities. Now, the Black middle class was constantly expanding and became some of the biggest consumers of Black literature. Teachers started demanding more material to educate their students. Business owners started opening up Black history clubs, and many whites joined in to offer support. Woodson and ASALH, Association for the Study of African American Life and History, struggled to keep up with demand. So, they created the theme for the yearly celebration. Teachers obtained new and improved study materials. This included pictures and useful lessons. People carried out plays to commemorate historical moments.
What happens when the prostate enlarges and the urine channel gets
Up of important people and dates. Black educators typically taught Black history as an integral component of United States history. Some reports show that in the South, during the Civil Rights Movement, teachers would hide Woodson's textbooks under their desks. This way, they could avoid drawing too much unwanted attention from the principal. After gaining better access to knowledge, high schools in different communities created Negro history clubs. ASALH expanded its branches to reach a much wider audience. As the number of Black African Americans increased, mayors released Black History Week proclamations. Fast forward to the 1940s. Before his death, Woodson believed that the weekly festivities would end, but the story of Black history in the remembrance of all the past hardships wouldn't. As a matter of fact, Woodson didn't see Black history as a one-week thing. He urged schools to use Black History Week to show what students learned during the entire year. It was in the sense that African Americans would study their past every day. So, he looked forward to a time when the people would no longer need these annual celebrations. The civil rights movements of the 50s, 60s, and 70s became a new turning point for Black people. There were student walkouts requesting Black history classes. During this period, social movements gained momentum. It caused a drastic shift towards teaching Black history through the events and experiences of ordinary people. By the time Black History Week officially became Black History Month in 1976, the Black Power movement gained a new emphasis on what is truly unique about being a Black person in the United States of America. Other countries are also honoring Black people and their impact on culture and history, including Germany, United Kingdom, Canada, and the Netherlands. How is Black History Month celebrated today? The Black Power movement has evolved over the years. It has managed to help increase awareness of Black identity and the countless neglected accomplishments of Black Americans throughout history. Today, people continue to discuss Black history. Many honor the contributions of pioneers such as Rosa Parks, Harriet Tubman, Marcus Garvey, Sojourner Truth, Martin Luther King Jr., and more. There are many film screenings, museum exhibits, and nonprofit organizations that support Black youth. Many local organizations, schools, and cities are hosting events that celebrate Black History Month. Is Black History Month celebrated anywhere else? Black History Month goes beyond the borders of the United States. Germany and Canada celebrate this event in February together with the US, but the UK, Netherlands, and Ireland are hosting their own Black History Month celebrations in October. Brazil chose November 20th for its Black Consciousness Day. Here's how each country celebrates this occasion. For a couple of years now, Germany has had a lot more events organized by Black organizations, institutions, and individuals. These events focus on the importance, awareness, and recognition of Black life in Germany. Although the USA is the bedrock of Black History Month, Black people in Germany are also facing issues with discrimination and racism. This marks a wide-scale effort to rally against racism. In December 1995, the House of Commons officially acknowledged February as Black History Month. In Canada, there are festivities and events held across cities. Canada is celebrating Black Canadians, such as Eleanor Collins, the pioneer in both television and music. She became the first Black artist in the region to host a national nationally broadcast TV series. Thanks to her career, Collins created connections and raised funds for charity and local organizations. Many other Black Canadians have contributed over the years, which serve as an inspiration for the youth today. In the United Kingdom, when Black History Month first started, there was a lot of emphasis on Black American history, but as the years went by, people paid more attention to Black British history and important Black figures from the UK. These include Dr. Shirley Thompson, Walter Toll, Mallory Blackman, Olive Morris, and Lewis Hamilton. There are many symbolic reasons the UK, Ireland, and the Netherlands chose October for their annual celebration. First, October is when leaders and African chiefs gather to settle their differences. This month was selected to reconnect with Black people's roots on the continent. Secondly, in October, students are back after the holidays. This offers a great opportunity to study important figures and contributions of those with Black heritage. As you can see, Black History Month began as a way to remember events and people of Black heritage, as a way to honor the struggles and triumphs of African American families throughout U.S. history. Even though Woodson chose the month of February, mainly because it coincided with the birthdays of George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and Frederick Douglass, it was also a month when notable moments in Black history are celebrated. This created the perfect time to pay tribute to generations and generations of African Americans who struggled with adversity, racism, and discrimination. We will be dropping new documentaries all.
Okay. Anybody learn anything? You got any comments? Okay. No comment?
Oh, I do. I just wanted to go back to where they first started using the word black and
Okay.
black instead of brown people, or I mean, you know, when did they start using the word black to describe us?
You want to know when?
Yes, because at one point I don't think that they were using the word black, and then they had put black African Americans. That was not used at one point in time. Then they brought it up.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, they say that Jesse Jackson coined that because of when they came and got us, the place they got us from was called Negro Land. They was called us Negroes. That's where they got us from. From West Africa, it was a place called Negro Land. When you tie that together, you go to the dictionary, the Zonovan Bible dictionary. It says that Ham is the youngest son of Noah, and he's the progenitor of the Hamites put the Ethiopian, but not the Negro. So way back then, they knew they was calling us Negroes. Then, from my understanding in my research, it says that Jesse Jackson one coined the black African Americans, colored people. Jesse Jackson coined that.
So when you place it on your application or anything, when they said, what color are you, or what is your ethnic background, and you place black, I think in the Black's Law Dictionary, it would tell you that it has no significance, or you have no ties to the United States or to their Congress, all their rules and regulations, because as putting down that you're a black,
Right.
no, they don't recognize you. And then we have for decades used black as describing who we are.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that pretty much been voided out because it's, like I was saying, the educational level per person now is different, and I think everybody got away from that. I know for the longest, when I got to that, I would always put African before I came into the understanding of what was really going on, and then now I put Hebrew. So, and I think it's a lot of people in that position. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. I got this look. Open it up for some Q&A. questions or comments? Anybody got any questions or comments from this morning, last night? You want to bring up? You want got a dialogue? Okay, everybody good? Let's deal with this situation right here.
People, today we are here for African Americans. Our brothers and sisters that are rejecting us. They're seriously rejecting us, Africans. And it's like we are running towards them. You must be African. They are saying no, we are Americans. We are not Africans. We are Americans. We are Black Americans. We are not Africans. And Africans are saying you must be Africans. You are a brother by force. By force, by fire, you are brothers. And they are saying, no, we cannot be your brothers and sisters.
I'm an American. I'm not an African American. I'm an American. I have darker skin. I have a nice, interesting braid of hair. I connect with Caucasian. I connect with Asian. I connect with Black. I connect with Indian. I connect with each culture.
Whether Americans also like it or not, Africa is the home. So you can't take away from that. Like, you can you will still when they check your DNA, even if you call yourself American and from Louisiana, they will still see you have African blood.
Before I even talk about Raven, I just hate that we as Black people, every time a celebrity says something, it's given more importance.
Yeah.
You know, a celebrity says something, and then us as Black people, us as Africans, are like, oh, they say. But those people that you said are still signed.
Yeah.
You know, if their record labels or film productions, cancel them, they become nobody. Like they no longer have a voice. So why do we have to even accept when a celebrity like her says such a statement like, "Oh, me, I'm American. I'm
from Louisiana.
I'm from Louisiana." It doesn't take away that you're from Louisiana, but your heritage originated from Africa.
It's mostly like trying to say like Black and African
are different. Very different. She's African. Basically, what she's saying, like you're saying, Black and African are two different people and are different.
They're not in the same WhatsApp group.
Yeah, they're not connected in any way. Is that the world we are?
Denial is the river raven. You are African.
When we come and tell you that you're African, it doesn't take your American citizenship away from you. No. You will always be seen as an American, but you will always be known as an African. Like there's a difference between being seen and being known. Yes. I can be known as an African, but be seen as an European. Let's say I had my children in the UK. They'll be seen as Europeans in the sense of they have a European passport, but they will be known as Africans because of how they are or their heritage. Yes. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense.
And one last thing I want us as Black people or as Africans is
Any comments so far? Okay.
To have conversations, but even if we do not agree, don't turn out to be aggressive in the situation.
Yes. Plus, who we are over here in America, you ain't even from America. You from fucking Africa.
This is an African-American woman who's coming out to say that we as Africans are coming out to tell them on who they are or who they should be. But when I come out and say you're my African descendant, that you're African, I'm stating facts. The same way that I come on TikTok and I see my fellow African descendants in the diaspora teaching me my true history that I was denied of, because most of the history or most of the education that we have in the African continent was given to us by our colonizers. The same way the education that you have in America or wherever you are was given to you by your colonizers. No Black person on this planet, no African, wrote their own history. And that's why they are trying to erase the history and change it, because, they control the education. What can we do about it as Black people? Nothing. Just talk about it. You said we are not from America, we are from fucking Africa. Like you're trying to diss Africa. I don't know what you're trying to portray. And yes, I'm from the African continent. I'm from Uganda, and I'm a proud African. But also, if you look into your own history that was given to you by your colonizers, you still understand that you come from my African ancestors. So basically, you're my African descendant. But still, if you don't feel like you are connected to Africa in any way, please don't come to Africa. If you feel you're indigenous to wherever you are, whatever land you are, and you feel like you're indigenous, please stay there. Don't come into the continent. You're saying Africa's never fought for you. You're forgetting the Pan-Africanist groups that were destroyed by the same people running the system. And you're saying you're being killed and tortured in America, and then Black Lives Matter, all those things that you say. But you also need to remember, in Africa, the image that you are mostly given about you was.
You are ashamed because they have painted Africans as people that are poor. So they say things like, okay, Africa is not a good place, African is dirty, Africans are like this, Africans are barbaric. And then you buy that and you feel ashamed to even identify with your people. Of course, they are Native Americans and they are African Americans, right? So before you jump in and say you are Native Americans, even the Native Americans, they have iota of African DNA in them. That is why they look the way they are. So they have origin in the motherland. They have their foundation in the motherland. Like someone would say that humanity started around somewhere in Africa. I do not believe less. Because that is it. That is the truth. Then you see it and you begin to hear someone coming out boldly like what she was saying. That she's African. Sorry, she's American. She's not African. She's Black. She can relate with who. You're just deceiving yourselves because they give you reasons why you should deny your motherland. And then you have issues with your origin. And they themselves, they are not treating you as they should treat you, with respect. So that you would have no other option since you have denied your own origin.
Okay. Any comments? Can y'all hear me?
Yes, is that too? It came in almost like they're excuse me, arguing with each other on a point. So is one an American and one is an African, or is both of them Africans and one is saying that we're Americans even though we're Africans even though we're in America? Because
No, these African women.
okay, both of them.
Well, they African women, and they brought up a couple of American women. They brought up they comment like Raven. You know Raven, right?
Yes, sir.
Raven. One of the women that was talking was Raven, saying that she's not African. She's saying that she's lighter than them, and she's mingled with Chinese and Indian and all that. So she says she has no connection with Africa, and they saying that she's confused because of her origin is her ancestors that was brought over here. It was Africa. It makes her African.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Yeah. So with that being said, anybody else got any comments on that?
Yes, it's just another young lady that's an actress that's no longer in the haven't seen her in years. She played on Clueless. She's a Black woman who has those hazel brown eyes, and she said that she was not Black either.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. And then when they asked what's his name, Tiger Woods, about being one of the first Black African Americans who won the PGA, he said, "I am not Black. I am more Asian than I am anything." So
Right.
kind of denouncing, taking being Black or brown away from, and see how um, putting it out there like Raven is doing right now, and everyone's focusing on her. She's putting it in the spotlight, and now reparation in California, they're giving them the money. I think that's why the Jim Crow, this young lady, was upset earlier about it, because of the money that they're doing in California, giving money to people for the reparation of slavery.
Okay. Right. Yeah. I think I'm looking at that, like with Raven and like with Tiger Woods, they mothers, Tiger Woods' mother is from Asian, got Asian background. So for him to say he's African American, he'll be dissing his mama. So I think that's why he came out, and Raven the same way. They getting Negroid features from their father, and their mother is something else. And so by them just siding with their father's side of the family, it's like dissing their mother. So that's why they would jump up and say that, from my understanding, because I know he attached at the hip with his mama, and Raven is too. So by them going in one direction, saying they black, that's pretty much denouncing the mother side of the family. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. I'm reading out of the Book of Jubilees. We're gonna be here for about right at an hour. Okay. I'm reading out of the Book of Jubilees, and I kind of broke this down before the introduction of Jubilees. What's significant about Jubilees is, just like we was dealing with in the Book of Daniel, a Jubilee is 50 years. It's seven Sabbath years, 7 Sabbath weeks, 6 years in a Sabbath year times 7 is 49. And the 50th year is a Jubilee. So this Book of Jubilees, angels is telling the story. They're telling the story from our history, from their perspective, and they're telling it in 50-year increments. That's what it's called, the Book of Jubilees. Okay, so I'm in 46. It says it happened after the death of Jacob that the children of Israel continued to multiply in the land of Egypt, and they became a great nation, and they were in one accord and heart. Notice that they tell us that we can't. They had to blame JC because we could never come on one accord. We could never keep the law, come on one accord, and serve the Most High. What the angel telling you right here, it happened after the death of Jacob. The children of Israel continued to multiply in the land of Egypt, and they became a great nation, and they were in one accord of heart. So that brother loved brother, every man helped his brother. They increased abundantly and multiplied greatly, 10 weeks of years, all the days of the life of Joseph. There was neither Satan nor any evil in all the days of the life of Joseph after his father. Jacob had died, because all the Egyptians respected the children of Israel all the days of the life of Joseph. Okay, so Joseph died being 110 years old. He lived 17 years in the land of Canaan, and 10 years he was a servant, and 3 years in prison, and 80 years he was under the king, ruling all the land of Egypt. He died, and so did all his brothers and all of that generation. But he commanded the children of Israel before he died that they should carry his bones with them when they went out from the land of Egypt. So, and he made them swear regarding his bones, because he knew that the Egyptians would not bring his bones out of Egypt or bury him in the land of Canaan. Because while dwelling in the land of Assyria, King Macmaron, the king of Canaan, fought against Egypt in the valley and killed the king of Egypt there, and pursued the Egyptians to the gates of Erman. Says, but he was not able to enter, because another king, a new king, had become king of Egypt, and he was stronger than than he, Mercaron, and he returned to the land of Canaan, and the gates of Egypt were closed, so that none came or went from Egypt. Joseph died in the 46th Jubilee, in the 6th week, in the 2nd year, and they buried him in the land of Egypt, and all his brethren died after him. And the king of Egypt went to war against the king of Canaan in the 47th Jubilee, in the 2nd week, in the 2nd year. And the children of Israel brought out all the bones of the children of Jacob, except the bones of Joseph. And they buried them in the fields, in a double cave in the mountains. Then most of them returned to Egypt, but a few of them remained in the mountains of Hebron, and Amram, your father, remained with them. The king of Canaan was victorious over the king of Egypt, and he closed the gates of Egypt. He devised an evil plan against the children of Israel to afflict them. He said to the people of Egypt, look, the people of the children of Israel have increased and multiplied more than we. Let us use wisdom and deal with them before they become too many. Let us make them our slaves before we go to war and they rise up against us on the side of our enemies. Before they leave and fight against us, let us do this because their hearts and faces alliances are toward the land of Canaan. He set over them taskmasters to enforce slavery, and they built strong cities for Pharaoh, Python, Ramesses, and they built all the walls and all the fortifications which which had fallen in the cities of Egypt. They enslaved them with harnesses, and the more they were evil toward them, the more they increased and multiplied. And the people of Egypt despised the children of Israel. Okay, so that was Jubilees chapter 46. Any comments on that?
Don't they talk about that in Leviticus too? And I think that's Leviticus 25.
What did it say?
25 and 10. And then he shall depart from you, and his children with him, and shall return to his own family. He shall return to the possession of his father, for they are my servants, whom I brought out of the land of Egypt. They shall not be sold as slaves. You shall not rule over him with rigor, but you shall fear your God. And as for your male and female slaves, whom you may have from the nations that are around you, from them you may buy male and female slaves.
Right. He's talking to those are Leviticus are laws pertaining
Mm-hmm.
to human relations. So he's telling the Israelites they can have slaves, but you can't treat them the way that they treated us. The way that
Right.
right is a righteous way to have a slave.
Mm-hmm.
That's like uh, Rachel and Leah. Both of them had handmaids,
Right.
but it wasn't no trickery and deceit and no affliction going on. They was handmaids to them in a righteous manner. Okay.
Okay, this is Cheryl. When you were reading, that brings me to the mind of Exodus 1, chapter 1,
Right.
Israel's suffering in Egypt. And
Right.
at 6, it says, now there arose a new king over Egypt who did not know Joseph. And he said to his people, look, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come, let us deal. Okay, let me see.
Shrewdly. Shrewdly.
Truly, truly with them, lest they multiply. And it happened in the event of a war that they also joined our enemies and fight against us. And so go up out of the land. Therefore, they set taskmasters over them and afflict them with their burdens. And there built for Pharaoh supplies supply the cities. So I think that's what they were talking about when you said they kept multiplying and multiplying.
Right, exactly. And it's because of the family structure that they had. And, you know, their family structure is different than anybody else's family structure. Well, that the Most High had them set on, and that's why they multiply so fast. But the difference, I don't know if anybody caught it, but the difference in Jubilees, this angel telling the story, then what we get in King James, notice that it says a king from the land of Canaan came to Egypt and conquered Egypt. Canaanites. There's a king from the Canaanites came and conquered the king of Egypt. The Canaanites hate the Egyptians. I mean the Israelites. So this Canaanite king is the one persuaded them to put us in abundance. So verse 5 of Jubilees 46 says, 40, verse 4, he died and did so, all his brethren and Joseph and all of that generation, but he commanded his children of Israel before he died that they should carry his bones with them when they went out from Egypt, out of the land of Egypt. So do that ring a bell when Joseph commanded them to bring his bones with them? Do that ring a bell?
Yes.
What reminds you
of? The dry bones of the
Exactly. That's why he's telling them to do that. But
Ezekiel
they don't
37.
right. They don't tell you, like he said, all of them, all the brethren that died, the children of Israel when they left the land of Egypt, when the Michael came and delivered them, they had all their brethren bones. Them the bones that's in Ezekiel 37. And the reason they're doing that was, like I said, they already knew they was gonna get resurrected. There ain't nobody coming down on the cross. They had already been informed by their God and by the prophets that they was gonna live again. That's why Joseph telling them to bring their bones out. So, and then you notice in Ezekiel 37 it says, "Bone went to its bone." So these bones been mingled all up. Some bones go to another skeleton, but when the Most High raised them up, he says, whatever little skeleton that bone came to is going back to that bone. It's going back where it belongs. Okay. So anyway, verse 6 says, verse 5 says, he made them swear regarding his bones because he knew that the Egyptians would not bring his bones out of Egypt or bury him in the land of Canaan, because while dwelling in the land of Assyria, King Mercon, the king of Canaan, this is the Canaanite king, fought against Egypt in the valley and killed the king of Egypt there and pursued the Egyptians to the gates of Imran, but he was not able to enter because another king, a new king, had become king of Egypt. He was stronger than he and Mercon, and he returned to the land of Canaan, and the gates of Egypt were closed, so that none came or went out from Egypt. Said, and Joseph died in the 46th Jubilee in the 6th week in the second year, and they buried him in the land of Egypt, and all his brethren died after him. Then it says the king of Egypt went to war against the king of Canaan, right here, against the king of Canaan in the 47th Jubilee in the second week in the second year, and the children of Israel brought out all the bones of the children of Jacob, except the bones of Joseph, and they buried them in the field in the double cave in the mountains. So what's going on when this war broke out, the children of Israel seized the opportunity to get all their father's bones, and they would have hid them for when time when they get a chance to leave, they're gonna go get the bones because they had gates, they closed the gates and they couldn't get out. So when this war broke out, they went and got all the bones of their forefathers and went and hid them so they can go back and get them later. So then verse 9 says, then most of them returned to Egypt, but a few of them remained in the mountains of Hebron, the mountains of Hebron, right? And Amaron was their father remained with them. Then the king of Canaan was victorious over the king of Egypt. So it was a Canaanite that oppressed them, right? King of Egypt, and he closed the gates of Egypt, and he devised the evil plan. This king of Canaan devised the evil plan against the children of Israel to afflict them. And he said to the people of Egypt, look, the people of the children of Israel have increased and multiplied more than we. So the difference in what Jubilees is telling us and this angel is that it's a Canaanite. Canaanite people hated the Israelites. So it's a Canaanite king came in, subdued Egypt, the Egyptians, and he didn't want to oppress the Israelites. Okay. Any comments on that? Okay. I'm gonna read chapter 47 where we close out. Okay. It says, in the 7th week, in the 7th year, in the 47th Jubilee, your father went out from the land of Canaan, and you, Moses, were born in the 5th week, in the 6th year of it, in the 48th Jubilee. This was the time of the tribulation of the children of Israel. So notice what the setting is. Like I was saying in my introduction, at the beginning of every class, I'll tell you that we only deal with the Tanakh and we deal with the Torah. The Tanakh is the Old Testament. The Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament. This who gave Moses. Moses wasn't alive during the first 5 books. Genesis and all that. So this angel conveyed to him. Moses is the author, but the angel conveyed to him all that had happened up until the time he was born. So notice in 47 it says, this angel talking to Moses, in the 70th week, in the 70th year, in the 7th year, in the 47th Jubilee, your father went from the land of Canaan, and you, Moses, were born in the 4th week, in the 6th month of it, in the 48th Jubilee. This was the time of the tribulation for the children of Israel. So this angel dictating him, right? Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, issued a command ordering them to throw all their newborn male children into the river. And they threw them into the river for 7 months until the day that you were born. The day that you were born, it is said that your mother hid you for 3 months, and she made an ark for you and covered it with pitch and tar and placed it in the reeds of the banks of the river. Hold on a minute. I got my class, man. Okay. So it says, you were 3 weeks of years at court until the time when you went out from the royal court and saw the Egyptians beating your friend, who was the children of Israel, who was of the children of Israel, and you killed him and hid him in the same. On the 2nd day, you came across 2 children of Israel quarreling together, and you asked the one who was doing the wrong, why did you hit your brother? And he was angry and indignant and said, who made you a prince and a judge over us? Do you want to kill me like you killed the Egyptian yesterday? You were afraid and you fled on because of these words. Okay, so that was the end of 47. So anybody got any comments on that? So that's what I was saying. The Book of Jubilees is angels are telling the story. They're dictating the story on and telling you what happened, because they was there. And they was there watching. They watching. Okay. Any comments? Do y'all have a Book of Jubilees?
No.
Yes, sir. It's in a we got the Supagrapha. Yes, sir. Volume 2, and it's on our 138 page.
Okay. So you got the whole Book of Jubilees?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it would do some good to read that. It's a lot of information in there. It's filling in gaps, just like the Book of Enoch does. Okay. So we right at an hour. Anybody have anything they want to talk about, or question or something before we go, or some information they wanted to divulge? Okay. Everybody good?
Well, talking. I wanted to say something. This is Joyce.
Okay.
About go back to the Jim Crow and how you know, like you say, it was very disturbing, you know, and upsetting too, you know, that this is happening now,
Right.
although it is, you know, all of the prophecies that you know we were looking at, you know, when we go back and see that these things are going to happen, but just to be here to see it all happening, you know,
Right.
we have to still stand in our faith and read this word and study it, like you say, and like we know, so that it doesn't overcome us and
Right.
take us over, because we are the chosen people and we will be going through things, but we have all of our like this word, we have this to help us to
Right.
get through this, because it is coming, it's forthcoming, and it's here and it's
Right.
happening.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Exactly. Yes, and it's a way to you know, deal with the meat and throw the bone away, because we know they didn't hook with certain parts of our scriptures, and we can see, because we're looking at the events happen. So you can't deny something if you're looking at it and it's unfolding, and not only that, it's in scriptures too. So you can't say that it's not scripture, because you're looking at it unfold. We're in a unique position than anybody than our forefathers were, because we're looking at these prophecies that was prophesied to them. We in the midst of them. We watching them unfold.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. So nobody else have anything? We're gonna let me get this. Yeah, I'll say shalom, and I'll see everybody on Tuesday. You know, we have that little dialogue on Sundays, if that's if you want to show up or not. It's on Clubhouse.
Shalom. Yes,
So
sir.
yeah,
Shalom.
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 Okay,
Shalom.
shalom.